Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to live class tonight. We're the Sawyers. My husband will be here soon. He's in the midst of doing some things. He'll be right here as soon as he gets done. I just want to welcome you guys to another Heart to Heart with the Sawyers. That's me, Tony Sawyer, and my absent husband, Clifton. We're here and live and in color. If you notice that I'm a little stuffy, you are right. I am. I've been stuffy for the last 2 or 3 days, and I might have to blow my nose while I'm talking, so I don't want you to be alarmed. But anyway, let me see who's here. I want to see who's come in tonight. There's my Cynthia and my brother-in-law. Hey, y'all. Let me know whether you can hear and see me clearly. I didn't think to ask you that. I think everything's on like it should be, but glad you guys are here. Hey, Pastor Norman. I ought to just let you come on in here, young man. I might send you an invite. Hey, Linda Langdon. How are you, Linda Langdon? And there's John Greason in the house. And Sandra is here. Hey, Sandra. And how's Majority and the kids doing? Jill's here. Hey, Jill. She always calls you guys beautiful people. Kathy, hey, how you doing? If I send you an invite, you'll come in, Pastor Norman? Okay. I'll give you an invite in just a minute. Thank you, Jill, for letting me know. Let me see if I can get him in here right quick. Let's see if I can send him an invite for coming in here. Let's see how I'm gonna do this. Let me see. I'm trying to get Pastor Norman in here with us, see what we can do. Maybe he'll help us to do some things tonight. I've been really, really under the weather, but I'm okay. I'm doing good. And I'm recovering. I went to my doctor today, and she gave me a clean bill of health. But she also gave me a COVID test, which was not fun at all. My nose was already raw, and then they jammed that thing up my nose, and I'm like, oh, no. It did not feel pretty. Did not feel pretty. I sent it, Pastor Norman. So if you get it, you can pop on in here when you get ready. Yeah, you got to get on your laptop. Anyway, glad you guys are with us tonight. Pastor's overseeing or supervising some work that's being done here at the house. There's Dee Dee. Hey, Dee Dee. How you and George doing? Been thinking about you guys. Well, it's Easter week, isn't it? It's Easter week, and I don't know. I think our family's getting together. I'm not sure if we're getting together or not. We're planning to do something if I'm up to it. The doctor also tested me for what is it, RSV? Is that what it's called? RSV? Come on in here, baby.
I won't be here long. She wanted to test her for meanness. Hey, everybody. Good to see you. Good to have you back. I won't be here for a minute, but I'll be back.
You'll be here only a minute?
Yeah, I got to go and come with him.
Well, why don't you just stay on out there until I get this, and then you can come in and stay.
Okay. Well, I'll be back. Y'all just hold your horses. I'll be right back.
I think I can manage. They'll help me. Pastor Norman, I gave him an invite. He might pop in here. We'll be all right.
Okay, I'll be back.
All right. There we go. And of course, I got my sidekick baby girls right here waiting. Yeah, so I'm waiting for the results of the COVID and the what is it, RSV? Is that what they call it, RSV? Other thing that they test you for. Anyway, I got to find out about that before I can say I'm doing anything this weekend. She kind of laughed at me. She said, I told her I gave my husband a COVID test when he had his symptoms, and his was negative. I said, so I didn't do mine. And then I said, I started to do mine. She said, well, it wouldn't have done you any good if you were asymptomatic. It wouldn't have known anyway. So she started laughing at me. I had to tell her, don't laugh at me. This is how we do. This is how we do. So anyway, I'm doing all right. But we're just kind of busy today. And this is the first day this week that I haven't just laid around and been a couch potato. So I'm on the mend. Thank goodness. These bodies. Anyway, let's do our prayer of surrender. Let's do a prayer of surrender. And hopefully we won't get an interruption. But let's do our prayer surrender. And then we'll wait and see if Pastor Norma's going to pop in here. Okay? All right. If you're in a place where you don't have as many distractions, it's good. That'll be really good. So you can just put everything aside and be still for a moment. And we're just going to go through this prayer surrender. We've done it before. This one I'm not putting on the screen, so you will just have to follow me, okay? And you can simply listen or you can repeat it after me, whichever feels better for you, okay? But it is good to do this before we start because I don't know what your day's been like, and you may have had a lot of stuff going on. And yeah, Linda said put baby girl in his chair. Well, I don't think she'd sit in it because baby girl's skittish, and it this chair turns, she'd freak out. Just trying to get her on it, she'd freak out, Linda. Anyway, she wouldn't be too good as teaching us anything. Well, she might teach us something. She might teach us something. She's taught me quite a few things. She's taught me how to let go of a story. I tell you that. She's taught me how to do that. When I watch her with her physical challenges, while she's going through the challenge, she deals with whatever she deals with. And then when it's done, she's back like, I'm back. Let's play. And she lets go of the story. So if we can learn to do that, we'd be light years ahead. Hey, Majari, how are you, sweetheart? I am so glad you're here. Let's do our prayer surrender. Let's do that. And like I've always said, like you leave your shoes outside when you come in, or you pick them off and you leave them in the corner, put your thoughts in the corner right now. Just leave them aside. You don't need anything right now other than what we have right here with us. And we can simply be here now. Just be here now. So if you want to, take a deep breath and release it now. Take another deep breath and let it go. And say this: there is nothing to change. There is nothing to do. There is nowhere to be. I belong to you, Lord. Everything I have is simply entrusted to me. All that I have is not owned by me, but belongs to you. My body, my home, my car, my job, my family, my time, it all belongs to you. You are what I am. You are who I am. You are why I am. And you are where I am. I belong to you, Lord. Thank you for accepting me just as I am. Now let's say this one. I give thanks to thee, O God, for my existence. I give thanks to thee, O God, for your presence. I give thanks to thee, O God, for this awareness, for the awareness of my existence. And I surrender the illusion of being a personal self. And so it is. And so it is. Good evening, Jonathan. I'm glad you're here. I was thinking about you this week. I hope everything's going well for you. Pastor will be here shortly. He's in and out, monitoring or supervising something that's being done here at the house. So he'll be here as soon as he can. I wanted to mention something when we were doing this particular meditation, thanking God for his presence or its presence. I realized that experiencing the presence of God is not an emotional thing. It's not something that's emotional. And so if it's not emotional, because emotions are up and down all the time, they're constantly in flux. So God's presence cannot be simply felt. There are times when your emotions may be completely out of sorts, and yet the presence of God can be experienced. Well, Pastor Norman's here. Let me let him in. Let me let him in. Hello, Pastor Norman.
Well, hey there.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great in yourself.
Yeah, I've been missing you on impromptu, young man.
Well, we miss you guys too.
Yeah, no. So what's been going on with you?
Ministry,
Ministry, lots of ministry.
lots of ministry.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's great. That's great. What was your Sunday message about?
Actually, I was sharing. I'm hearing an echo for some reason. Let me
We're
make
hearing
sure.
you okay on this end. I am. I don't know if everybody else is. Let us know if you're not hearing Pastor Norman clearly.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you, but there is a little echo. There is
Yeah,
a little
I don't
echo.
know where it's coming from.
I don't either. But I was talking just before you popped in, before I let you in, rather, that when we thank God for his presence, that's not necessarily an emotional experience, is it?
No, it's not.
No, and I used to think, especially when we would get into those places of worship, deep worship, and we started to feel really, really good. And we said, oh, the Spirit of God was here today. But then there are times when it didn't feel that way, but the Spirit of God was still here. And it just never felt like, it had nothing to do with feelings at all. And they're saying
Exactly.
they are getting an echo from you, Pastor Norman. Let me go back and see if my settings are right. And if they're not, then I can change them. Okay, now say something. Let's see if it's changed at all.
Once again, good evening. There you go. No echo.
No echo. So maybe it was mine on my end. Sorry about that, guys. Let us know if that worked for you, okay? So we were just chit-chatting a little bit just because I hadn't talked to Pastor Norman and it's good to see him. We haven't been doing the impromptu, so I was glad I let him in here tonight. Glad to see you, Pastor Norman. And
Yes.
yeah, and I've been dealing with the same sinus stuff that you had, I think, and so it hasn't been pretty. Yeah, they say it's good now. Sounds good now. Good, 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 good. So the presence of God, experiencing the presence of God, has nothing to do with emotion. So, and I remember the scripture that says, "They that seek a sign, a wicked generation seeks a sign." So
Hmm.
we don't have to have evidence that God is present to actually know that it's present.
Exactly. And it's funny that you said that. I several months ago I did a demonstration concerning always being in his presence. And so I had a guy stand behind me, and I'm asking the crowd, I'm saying, is he present? Is he
Mm,
present?
mhm.
But I'm not aware of it because he's behind me. So then I had him take his hand and put it on my shoulder, which means now he's touching me. So I have that sensation of feeling. So now
Yeah,
I could feel that he's present, but when he took his hand off of me, he was still yet present, but it wasn't based off my
yeah,
feeling. And
yeah.
so I was letting them know that's one of the things that we uh have a conflict with, like what you said, back
Mhm.
when we had our religious experiences. We was always going to church looking for a feeling, or when certain things would happen, then we would say the Spirit of God showed up. No, he was always there.
Exactly.
And so I believe the level of enlightenment and us maturing in the area of spirit, it lets us know that our awareness of God has nothing to do with our feelings at all, because our feelings become very unstable.
In
And so
fact, yeah, in fact, we can't trust our feelings, really.
exactly, because they can
Mhm.
lie to us. They can lie to us.
Yeah, yeah. So that whole thing of we often talk about the mind lying to us, and we look at the nature of the mind as if the mind is that uh, not enemy, but the challenge that we have. But it's also our feelings. So it's the entire part of our psyche. The
Mhm.
mind, the will, and the emotions is what we learned years and years ago. The Greek word, I think, is psyche, which stands for psyche, which is where the word psyche comes from, psychology. And yet we have ministers that are constantly saying you shouldn't be preaching psychology, but that's exactly what's being transformed is our psyche. The
Mhm.
mind is being transformed. Our feelings are being renewed, or I should say, we're becoming emotionally intelligent.
Mhm.
So that's the part of us that's actually being changed and transformed. Because that we really are, that part of us that is the God essence, doesn't need to grow or to change. It
It
already
is.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. It
already
is.
is. And there's not two of us. It's like the essence that we are is wearing the suit of the psyche.
Mhm.
It's wearing that as a garment. It's the personality. It's wearing the personality. It gives God color. It gives
Exactly.
it gives God flavor. And so that's why we shouldn't try to be clones of one another.
Nope. And I'm glad you mentioned how the religious community frown upon us dealing with psychology and stuff like that. And again, the word psyche deals with the soul, the our mind. Pneuma deals with the spirit. And so we seem to forget, we preach the message, and I've heard many preachers preach the message about the renewing of the mind. Well, that's
Yes,
the psyche. You see what I'm saying?
exactly.
Hmm.
Yes. Yes.
And,
So
and
we,
so it's about alignment, us coming in alignment and an agreement in that place of awareness of oneness.
yes. And these sessions that we have, I don't even want to call them church or Bible studies or anything like that, but they're like they're the school of infinite beings.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that.
This is the school of infinite beings learning more about themselves or discovering more about themselves. And uh, it's interesting because there's so many things now being done in our uh, society and in all well not only in our society, but there are lots of things being done as tools. Now, I was listening to some people. It's a YouTube channel that I watch what sometimes called is it sand? Yeah, science and non-duality. And they have some really good teachers on there, spiritual teachers on there. And there's one who was talking about the the drugs, ayahuasca, and some of the other things that people are now using in order to get that self-discovery experience. And it's because people are trying really, really hard to connect with that deeper part of themselves.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's always been part of the humanity's journey. In other Eastern countries, they would use different herbs, or
And
and
it's
one,
yeah, and
one
it's
that was
good.
used a lot was marijuana to
It's
go into that esoteric state
uh-huh.
and so forth, to try to go on that spiritual journey. And so it made them more aware of things. And then here, even in America, there are writers of songs or musicians or
Yeah.
composers of music that
Yeah.
will oftentimes share their story, how they were able to come up with a certain lyric or a certain
Mhm,
tune.
mhm,
They went into that state by using herbs or different things that would
mhm.
take them to that higher
Yeah.
spiritual level. So yeah.
Trying to escape the mind and
Mhm.
trying to escape the moodiness of the emotions. Um, and some of us some they use it, like you said, to their benefit, and then others have gotten trapped in the addiction of it. I remember there was a spiritual teacher who's no longer here in the earth plane, Ram Dass. Ram Dass was a very good spiritual teacher. He taught about loving awareness, and he came into his experience through psychedelic drugs, hallucinogenics, and
Mhm.
he visited, I think, I can't remember which guru it was. It might have been Ramana, I'm not sure. But he said he introduced the drugs to Ramana because Ramana was interested in, what are you doing? Why do you do that? And he said he told him why he did it, because it helps him to escape this confine of being a physical being. And Ramdas, not Ramdas, Ramana, I think it was, said he wanted to try it, but it
Mhm.
didn't work on him. It didn't work on him because he was already above beyond that.
Exactly.
So he never tried it anymore. But so there is a way to, I won't say escape the body and the mind, but there is a way to live peacefully with the body and the mind. And
Mhm.
uh, I know meditation is very, very good for those who have a very busy mind. Meditation is what they really, really need. But I've heard people who had busy minds say, I can't meditate. I can't meditate. Those are the ones who really, really need it.
Exactly.
And there's
And
so
it's
many.
funny.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. What were you saying?
Yes, actually, I was thinking about that early this morning, about going into a place of meditation, to bring your mind at peace. Because we get caught up with so many different things that's going on. And of course, we know, according to studies, stress is the number one killer still yet today, and
Mhm.
stuff. And it's because we do not know how to enter into that place of stillness. And I'm reminded of the scripture, be still and know that he is God. So it's not based off of emotions and so forth. He is, you find you become more aware of God and more aware of yourself, really, when you be still. And so I was up about 3:30 this morning, and that crossed my mind, go into a state of meditation.
Yes.
I couldn't go back to sleep, and so I did. I got up, and instead of the Christian world would talk about praying in tongues, but I just went into a mode of meditation,
Hmm.
and,
Hmm.
and and to just still my mind and my thoughts.
Yes. And I said this once before, that when it says be still, it's not talking about not moving.
Exactly.
Talking about sinking deep inside the very essence of your being, is going within, and going as deeply within as you can. Now, there's a breathing exercise that I've been doing that really has helped me to get into that meditative mode. For some who are constantly busy using their intellect, they have to have tools. Sometimes you have to have guided meditation, things that can lead you into it. Because when you've used your intellect so often and so much frequently, in those areas where you got to do what I call head work,
Hmm.
and using your mind for a lot of different things, that it's different than when we have manual labor. Manual labor, I can just work till I'm tired and my mind doesn't have to be in it very much.
Hmm.
That's a good kind of work. That's a good kind of tired. But when you've worked with your mind all day and you get to a place where we need to unwind, it's not easy for the mind to unwind because there's so much inertia. uh,
Exactly.
it's going like a snowball downhill, or like a car that's got no brakes going downhill. And so to stop it and say, I'm going to quiet my mind, is almost impossible. So
Mm.
you need tools, things that can help you to get to that place. And so one of the breathing exercises that I've used is, and I can only demonstrate it, you breathe in four, counting to four. 1, 2, 3, 4, in through the nose, hold it, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then release it, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. If you do that repeatedly, it slows the mind down. Slows the mind down.
It's funny that you said that. I had a conversation with someone recently, um, that a lot of times you hear people talk about being tired. but really, like you said, they're not doing much of anything. I mean, they're sleeping
Mhm.
8 hours, some 12 hours. And they're like, I'm just so tired. I don't have no energy. And it's not has nothing to do with the physical manual labor. It has to do with all that's going on in your head. And so you could go to sleep and sleep all day and still wake up feeling
Mhm.
drained and tired because your mind has not come to that place of rest. And you and Dad talked about that on Sunday about entering into a place of rest.
Yeah.
And I had that conversation with someone. I said, you need to quiet your mind. I know this because I'm one that my mind, that statue with the guy, that's me, the thinker. My mind is constantly going, I don't know how to shut it down.
It's called an overachiever. You know that's
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
I'm guilty. I have to feel productive constantly,
Mhm.
and so I have to feel like I'm doing something that has some meaning and value. And so to just sit and rest is like wasting time to me. And
Exactly. That's
yes,
me.
so yeah, but I'm one who has to use tools. There are times when my mind is easy to quiet.
Mhm.
And then there are other times when I go into meditation and it will not quiet at all. And this is the thing about meditation and or even prayer. Don't go into it with an agenda.
That's
And
good, Mom.
if you go into meditation to quiet the mind, then you're not going to be able to quiet the mind.
Mm.
It's just the opposite. If you try to quiet it, the more it rattles. And
Exactly.
so you simply go into meditation without an agenda. If it is racing and the mind is constantly chattering, then you allow it to do that. And when you notice it's doing it, if you can pull it back in to that place of quiet, that's a good thing. But
Mhm.
it's really for your practice, but you don't go into it with an agenda. I
And,
like what.
and
Go ahead.
I want to help someone even with that. With we call it our prayer life,
Yeah.
and of course going back to religious conditioning. There were certain things that we was taught concerning prayer,
Uh-huh.
but as I evolved, I've come to the place where I would say I would go into what we would call prayer, and I would say, Lord, I really don't have a lot to say. I mean, I don't want to
Right.
be repetitive, just repeating the same thing over and over and over, and thinking I'm gaining ground with Him or whatever. There are times where I say, Lord, I don't have nothing to say. Yes, I love you, whatever, but hello, I really don't have nothing to say, and I just go into that mode where I listen more than what I speak.
Mhm. Mhm.
I also wanted to mention. It's funny when you mentioned about the breathing exercise for people that use Apple watches. It's funny that the Apple Watch will sometimes pop up and say stop and breathe
Yes. Yes.
and tell us to breathe. So yeah,
Yeah,
so even that.
there's so many tools now. There are apps for that. You can even put them on your desktop, your laptop. And I have one that's called what is it called? A meditation bell. So like every 15, 20 minutes it'll ring a bell just to let
Mhm.
you know, just be still for a moment. And you can practice it also by when you get ready to go somewhere. If you're getting ready to get in the car, when you get in the car, just sit there for a moment without doing anything. But there are so many tools, as we mentioned. But the point is to bring yourself to that place of a meditation mode, uh, and do whatever works for you. Jonathan says it does work to help with self-realization, but it's not always an easy process. And that's true. It's not. But I know, based on my sweetie pie here, and welcome, Pastor.
Yep, yep, I'm back.
Um,
I'm back.
he's done prayer, used his prayer language, praying in tongues for years, and I have too. But that's really been his way of getting into that meditative mode. And a lot of the things that he's practiced going into his closet, and it's an actual closet, where it shuts, what it actually does is shutting out everything. The senses have nothing to activate them. There's nothing to see, nothing to hear, just dragging the mind and the emotions into that space.
Now, I didn't know what y'all were talking about, but let me read this. And this was something I wrote yesterday, today. And
Mhm.
I've been outside, so I don't know what you're talking about. Here it is.
Okay.
Main key, extra sense of perception.
Mhm.
The main key the biggest one of the keys is just sit and know that you are the I am without words, nothing, and nothing else. You will arrive to your natural absolute state. We all have been this eternal self and still is at this very moment.
Yeah.
So it's not a lot, it's not a whole lot you do nor say. Like we used to say, Lord, I come to you most of the way I know. Where you coming from?
Yeah.
Where you been?
I plugged the phone, sweetheart.
I did. I did.
So yeah, and that's what we
Yeah,
were talking
Chicago,
about.
do you please hear my humble cry?
Yeah. Lord, I got indigestion tonight. Can you help me get rid of it?
Now, here's Linda's giving a comment. She says, to me, meditation is not something you can force. Exactly, it's not. It comes naturally. Otherwise, it just becomes a ritual or busy work. Actually, there's no one here to meditate. Amen to that. No separate self can accomplish it. And I think that's what I mean when I say go into it without an agenda, because you don't need to have one. To go into it with an agenda is to make it work, is to be a separate self trying to make something happen. So you go in without an agenda at all, not even trying to quiet the mind. Just do it. If you feel like doing it, do it. If you don't feel like doing it, do it. It just is. And then Linda says, I love what you said about prayer.
Mm-hmm.
It says less talk and listening more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What I discovered over the years is that there are some sounds that you can make
Mm-hmm.
or not make. Um, Say, for instance, I was talking to somebody in English, and inside I heard, my inner ear heard the what we call the cooing sound, the sound of syllables. And what I had done was over the years is build a bridge
Mm-hmm.
between the left brain, right brain communication. So when you are riding along and you hear those syllables, but you must do it first because it says in the book, I will pray, I will interpret, I will. So that means we used to talk about the pony motor in a D9, D10 Caterpillar bulldozer.
Mm-hmm.
And before you can crank that thing up, whether it's summer or winter, you have to prime it with the pony motor. And if you don't do that, you won't start the big motor. Now, this is just a process
It's
that's
just a tool.
a tool
Yeah, a tool.
that eventually, once you get familiar with the dozer, you can go straight to it. Now, when I got in there, I was set, and sometimes I would sit 3 hours, 4 hours, 10. And here's the clue to this. It's not about power that people are searching for that they think is a misdirection. What that closet and meditation do is make changes in that part of you that is unwilling to open the door or let the door be open to
Yeah.
the tomb.
And you're repeating something we said while we were in
Oh, okay.
that's the psyche, that part of us that is the mind or the emotions, that part of us that is the intellect. That's the part of us that needs the transformation.
Right.
And so that's the part that needs
Yeah,
that.
that's it.
And so, as Linda said, there is really no separate self that's here to accomplish it.
No.
Because it is all the God essence as us doing it. God is the doer. We're not the doer at all. I remember hearing one of the other spiritual sages, his name is Muji, who said this in his earlier days when he would pray because he came from a Christian background. And then he studied the other different types of religions and different texts. But he said he started off saying in his prayer of surrender, God, if this depends on me getting it done, then I'm already sunk. I can't, I know I can't fulfill this. And that's a great place to come to, because then you are surrendering in a sense, because you're saying, I'm not the doer. I am not the doer, and I realize I'm not the doer.
Okay. Here's another clue. And I picked this up long years ago watching old Robert.
Mm,
Now,
mhm.
here he didn't quite say it. He didn't say it all like I'm going to say it to you guys now. I picked this up through practice, talking to babies in the stomach of a we call a pregnant mama. I don't
Yeah,
like to use that.
yeah. Why you don't like to use pregnant?
I want
What's
to
wrong
say
with
I want to
pregnant?
say it another way.
They're pregnant. Expecting. Okay.
Expecting mother.
Expecting
That's
mothers.
right. That's right. Expecting
Okay.
mother. Now, when I see one come up, now sometimes they don't be showing, and I'll somewhere in that area that I'm used to working with, I've gotten familiar with that movement in my stomach, like the baby's in me. That's the reason why Jesus said in the book, being if it's true, it is. In the book, he said, out of your belly shall flow rivers of living water.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. This seed, there's a seed. Salvation is like a seed or an acorn that falls off a tree.
Mm.
Down inside your belly, you are pregnant with the download of the contract that you wrote out, whatever you want to call it.
And when you say belly, you're not talking about the physical stomach, but you're
And
talking about the belly of the subconscious.
the belly of the subconscious. But let's just say on a metaphor, the stomach for real. Let's take it for real.
Okay.
Because when I talk to the babies I'm talking to them in the physical anatomy. There's a core, like you said, to the center of the tree.
But you reach them from a spiritual.
I reach them from a spiritual source. I use that.
Yes.
And don't let one come up and they be like that and showing, because the first thing I'm going to ask them, can I talk? I'm going to say it to you. I won't say it to her. Can I talk to God in your stomach?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you got it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I say, if she say no, you know what I do? I talk to him anyway. And this is the way I do it. I stand back and look at the stomach and talk to the baby and tell her where he is moving and the direction he's moving in without even touching her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I said, your baby just moved right there on the right side of your stomach, and now he's moving again, he's turning. She said, yeah, how do you know it? I said, I'm you and the baby standing here.
Yeah.
In this way, I got my question answered right now. That's what I've been asking today. How do I talk to God on the inside of me and not out there,
Mm-hmm.
the man upstairs? What's heard here is heard there and all over the universe.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want the ego, the dark side, to get in on the mysteries of God that are seeds in my stomach. Now watch this. Some of these seeds, every seed that falls off of an oak tree, acorn that falls off, do not get a chance to germinate.
That's true. Yeah.
There are some, Young Cho in China found this out.
That's Korea.
Korea, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted something and needed something in his ministry, and he was pregnant with it.
Mm-hmm.
But he had to find out what he was pregnant with. So he began to groan and travail like Jesus did in the 11th chapter of St. John, where he said he groaned in the spirit, he cooed in the spirit beyond Jordan and come back. He was so pregnant that he had to give birth to the baby. The baby was getting Lazarus out of the tomb, and he couldn't get him out except for Jesus. Jesus was Lazarus inside the cave, in the grave, coming out of the grave to talk and to see himself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is the clue to the miraculous operation that should be operating in every enlightened, waking up oneness person. They should not operate in just sitting on a stool with an apron or a quilt over their leg, just sitting there patty caking it around with words and classes and teaching, because before you know it, you're going to fall off into the trap of saying there's nothing else to do. It is not, but you got to understand that there is a you that is eternal that's got to do something through these suits.
Mm-hmm.
To some people, to understand what oneness is. Jesus in his prayer prayed this prayer that his disciples would be one, and they had to see something.
Mm-hmm.
They had to see something, and what he said, they have seen the works of the Father and have
Mm-hmm.
verified that they know that you are with me because they saw the sick healed, the dead raised, and all that kind of stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
just to be enlightened, waking up,
Just to hear the words.
just to hear the words
It's not always
it's like trying to run a car 100 miles distance off of a glass of gas.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have some stuff in there. And so what change does not change God. It changes your attitude to the place where you will come in line with your inner self awareness from the outside in to the degree. Let me tell you about this. There's a man named Max Grenfield. I think that was his name. He traveled all the way around the country. The Lord told him to go preach at different places, and he traveled, and he didn't have the money to put the gas in the car. Max Grenfield told me personally on the phone, he said he struck out with no money, and every time he got to the service station, somebody would come up and give him money or put gas in his car.
Mm-hmm.
He was so pregnant with that he matured itself into the place where what was inside of the spirit side of his essence come through and move the mountain of the blocks that was stopping him or that would normally interfere through the ego from being able to do what he had to do for his purpose of being here. Mm-hmm. Everybody's purpose is not going to be to sit in a chair and teach. Some people are sitting out in the audience, and I see them on television. You can look out there in the audience and tell what it is. A guy asked me one time, he said up in Milwaukee, he said, how do you do these things when you put your finger in somebody's ear and pull it out and they can hear? Well, I stick my finger in my own ear and do the same. Hey, I got to have some good. To get a little benefit from the boss man, you know what I mean? So, I had them lined up and they come. Now, one of the things that would happen if you don't keep in practice with this, you'll go limp. You'll have to learn how to use that muscle inside of you to roll the stone away from the entrance of the tomb, which is your subconscious.
Now, can you hold it for a minute?
Okay, I got you.
Just brought me up to this point.
Okay.
In the passage of scripture where it talks about Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead, I want to read something.
Okay, go ahead.
Mind,
okay.
Because it'll go according to what you're
trying to. I wanted to elaborate on that same thing.
You can still elaborate. I'm gonna read quickly because I want to get down to where it says what I wanted to say. It says in the first verse, now a certain man was sick named Lazarus of Bethany in the town of Mary and his sister Mary of Martha. It was that Mary which anointed the Lord with ointment and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. Therefore his sister sent unto him, talking about Jesus, saying, Lord, if you had, behold, he whom you love is sick. And when Jesus heard that, he said, this sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God, that the Son of God might be glorified thereby. And the 5th verse says, now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. When he heard, therefore, that he was sick, he abode 2 days still in the same place where he was. He didn't rush to their aid.
No.
He stayed 2 days
in the same place.
Now, my theory is he stayed there for 2 days, getting to that place that you were talking about.
That's right.
In himself, knowing he is the resurrection.
And that's the part I wanted to make mention when Dad was talking earlier, the language that Jesus used. He didn't tell them, because he even told the disciples, I even glad that I was not there,
Yep.
and so forth. And so his language was, I'm not going to go raise him
Yeah.
up. Or he didn't even say I had the power to raise him. He said, I am the resurrection.
That
So
get him out.
it's him being the
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
resurrection
Yep.
that caused what happened to happen. And
And
so again, that's the language of oneness.
it is. And Jesus knew when he said, I am the resurrection, he knew that it wasn't Jesus the body,
Exactly.
Jesus the man, Jesus the psyche that would be the resurrection. I am is the name of God, the essence that's there in that Jesus body. He knew not so much who he was, he knew what he was before he walked up to that tomb.
But and you just read it when he made the statement that this sickness was not unto death,
Mhm,
but that who would be glorified? God would be glorified.
mhm.
So you can't see God. So who is he making reference to? He
Yes,
who he is. That's
yes,
why he said, I am the
yes,
resurrection.
yes.
So yeah,
And there's so many nuances in this passage we could just go overboard with. But the point is, like you said, Pastor, there is the need to come into a fixed realization. And that fixed realization isn't one that it may not stay 24/7. And there are times when you will pull away. He stayed 2 days before he ever went. You will pull away into those times where you have to apply that and sit in that space until that fix is, and it's not being fixed in my thinking. It's not being fixed in my feelings. It's a knowing that's beyond that, where you realize that what comes and faces that situation is not that one that's disturbed by that situation.
If you give your gates a break from opening and closing,
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
the five senses,
Give the senses a break.
give you go into the secret place of the closet to rest your gates.
Yeah. To get to
They have been overworked through this ego world, seeing the noise, the sounds, the television, and everything.
Mhm.
Pretty soon you'll get to the place after much doing where your appetite will change, like that new Monjaro diet stuff, weight loss stuff. And what it does is shut down in the brain the monkeys that want to eat.
The noise.
The noise in the head.
Food noise.
So the noise is quieted down by you deliberately saying to God by actions inside of you, watch this, you are more important to me at this moment, if it ain't but 15, 20, 30 minutes. Right now,
Or
you are
5
more,
minutes, or
or
5
5 minutes. You are more important right now for me to minister to you in this quiet time. Now, don't get messed up with the mind, because it's gonna go crazy. One lady went in there, and the preacher told her to go in there and pray and be in the meditative state and call it. She went in there and she said, Reverend, said, when I come out, said, I was just plumb mad. He said, you just stayed in there till you just plumb lost your mind. And and that's it. But that it will be a challenge from the ego. It'll say something like, and the gate's open. Did you leave a pot on the stove? Did you cut the television off? Maybe you left a light on, or you got something plugged up just to get you out there. It's called care.
Oh, God,
And he
yes.
said, take no care. Take no care. And they say, you will always tell people when they're living, take care.
Yeah, I
You
know.
always tell me to take care.
Take care.
I said, no, I ain't. Not a bit more than fat babies, but
Now,
I ain't gonna take it. No. But anyway,
Pastor Norman had something I
yeah,
think he
go ahead,
wanted
go
to
ahead,
share,
go ahead.
Pastor. Go ahead, Pastor Norman. If you had something, you still got it in you.
Oh, I was just going to make mention that again, because you mentioned something about emotions as we got started. And so even in that text that you just read, when they approached Jesus concerning Lazarus being dead, that's how they approached him. They was trying to cater to his emotions, because they even mentioned how much he loved Lazarus. And so
Yeah.
so again, he did not allow his emotions to become in control. He stayed there 2 more days.
Yeah,
So he was never led by his emotions. He was led by his beingness.
yeah. He was not led by his emotions, yet he still expressed those emotions. That's where that little short scripture come from. We all use when we had to recite a Bible verse.
Yeah,
Jesus wept. Jesus wept. So
exactly.
he felt the loss of his friend. So we're
Mhm.
not talking about being inhuman. He felt the
Exactly.
loss of his friend, but he had also brought himself. And I want to mention what Linda's mentioned here. She says, "Could Jesus have known that Lazarus was already resurrected?" In fact, he did say that. He said he's not dead. He's asleep.
He sleep.
So
Exactly.
in fact, he already knew that. But and he had to go even beyond the knowing of that. So
Mhm.
Jesus saw, she said, Jesus saw it from the end already done, not working in time and space, and there was no hurry. That's true.
Because we have to remember,
Spending,
he's the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. So he sees the beginning and the end all at the same exact time. And
Sure.
so even in his language and what he said to them when he mentioned that he was sleeping, the disciples' perception was, well, he's doing good. If he's resting, he's doing well. And so to make it plain to them in their for their understanding, no, he's
He had
actually
to
dead.
say, he did.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was most dead because he had already started to rot.
exactly.
he been in there for over 4 days.
Yeah.
I asked the evangelist that we all know and heard of. If you don't know, you look him up on the computer. I had a chance to spend a few moments with Leroy Jenkins,
Mhm.
and Leroy was
He's a very controversial man.
yeah,
Minister.
he was in his trailer with his helper sorting out prayer cards and all that stuff. And
He didn't have a lot of theology,
no, he didn't. He really didn't know how to preach much.
but he had miracles that took place in his personal life, and that's what sent him into that
Yeah,
ministry.
so I went in the trailer and I said, Leroy, can I talk to you? And he said, yeah. But he cut you short. If you he was a smart mouth in a way, but I said, how do you do these things? And he would come out the trailer. He'd go in under the tent. Uh, I knew the preacher's name that was preaching for him. Yeah, but anyway, he said, you just do it. Now, what we're talking about now, when the time comes for you to get in this spotlight of someone in a service like that,
Maybe it's not a service. Maybe
it's
it's
in the
someone that
store.
they know.
Anyway, you don't have time to go back and pull your notes up.
Mhm.
You know, enticing words of wisdom comes directly from spirit. You don't meditate on you don't meditate on paper and ink. Your meditator turns to an iced potato, cream potatoes, scalloped potatoes, and all them potatoes. They done already been potatoed, so you don't go out there trying to mix the potato up. You just leave the potato where it is.
So what are you actually saying?
Now
Meaning,
you gonna have me go after the broadcast. Go get me some taters.
tater tots and all that stuff. Hey, French fries. Listen, the thing of it is that you have already paid the price through union with Christ, but the ego gives you the idea, gives us the idea in the brick and mortar that we need to get something straightened out. Ain't nothing to straighten out if you know how and who you are in that part of you that's doing the work.
And
Okay.
again, it's coming from that place of rest.
Now you got it. Here's what I'm saying. That's the reason why you hear me talk about the mother lode, the place inside the mountain where prospectors get their gold down the stream. It breaks off and it floats and it carries itself through the stream and the waves. Find out where the stream starts and you'll find out where the gold comes from.
To find the mother lodes, you got to go through some things to find the mother lodes.
You got to dig. It's not hard. It's not hard if you know that the mind is telling you that it's hard. It is not hard. And the reason why I say it like that is because you are it already. Mash your little button. It's easy.
I heard out of your voice that I heard out of your voice Stop trying to be something and be no thing.
Thank
There
you.
you go.
I heard that come right
Type
out of
that
you.
in, guys. Type that in. Stop trying to be something and be nothing.
It's
And be
the
nothing.
neutrality.
Yes.
It's like putting your car in park, floating and coasting down the hill.
So I can't even go into that meditative place or my 2 days beyond Jordan as Jesus spent. I can't go into that with an agenda.
No, you can't.
I can't go into that thing. I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna meditate until I come out with the power of God and I come out as Christ. That's all agenda too.
Yeah.
So just stop trying to be something and be nothing.
And be nothing. Yep.
Or no thing.
No thing. That's what I said. Yep. No thing.
When you're in the kitchen and you need a cup of coffee, when you get in there, you do not, before you go to the cup, you say, Lord, I ask you, and I speak the existence of a cup right in my cabinet. Then when you get your cup out, you'll say, Lord, I want you to make sure that I got coffee in the pot. Lord, I want you to help me and show me how to pour the sugar in the cup. And then pour the cup in the water and the water in the cup. No, you don't do that. You do it. You go to that, I need a cup of coffee. That's the only thing you say. When you say, I need a cup of coffee, it's like telling Jesus, I know where you are.
Yeah.
I know who you are, and I know how to work the works of God in putting my hand up in the cabinet to get the coffee cup. And then I put the coffee and let it boil, do whatever I do. If I want to put some cream in it, I put it. But I'm telling you,
I think we got
yeah,
it.
but I want to make sure you understand, because when you get out
It's
there,
not premeditated.
no, it's not premeditated. But when you get out on the floor, if you was out on the floor, you ain't got time to be thinking about how did I put this coffee together? How can I get this miracle done? How can I get this woman to see and to hear all this stuff that I done learned? You ain't got time for that. Mm-mm.
It's funny. I started laughing because as you was doing your demonstration, you began to use that preacher voice where you started like you about to turn it up. And I had to laugh because that's something that happens in the religious circle. You start,
And you know, he get in that mode, he's gonna get close to the screen, and we're gonna get a word in edgewise, that's for sure. Look, guys, we've been here an hour. It doesn't seem like it. Good gracious.
it sure enough don't.
Wow, we've been here an hour. But I really appreciate you, Pastor, taking the time to come in there and help us a little bit tonight.
Anytime.
Yeah, that's good to see you, man.
Yeah,
Really good to see you.
Yeah. So you got your Bible study tomorrow night, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. At 7 in the evening on Norman Armstrong Facebook page. Yep. Enlighten.
Yeah. I wish we could be with you, but we're with you in spirit and our hearts are with you. Thank you so much for taking the invitation tonight to come in and help us a little bit.
Not a problem. Anytime.
Always welcome, Pastor Norman. Always welcome. And everybody here, we're so glad you took the time.
Thank you for coming to be with us tonight.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all know him. I was getting ready to say something. Y'all should remember Mike. That's one of my deacons right there. He is the one that is 6'5".
All right.
Yeah.
You should remember him because you ministered to him and his wife.
I did. Yeah.
Welcome, young man. Welcome.
Man, I was. You know what? If you were still in that motel room down there, that conference room down there, I'd like to see all them folks together sometime. I would.
Well, what would happen?
Mom, let me show you how the universe operates. Now, this is funny. Now, Big Mike pops up on the screen, right?
Yeah.
But he was the one that I actually used for that demonstration when I was talking about presence of a person standing behind me. Big Mike was the one. So here I mentioned his name. He shows up.
Wow.
He did.
That's synchronicity.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's so good. Thank you guys for popping in. Jill has already shown you how to give. Pastor Norman, I can't remember your Cash App. If you want to type it in or let me know what it is, I can type it in.
It's simple, $ Apostle Armstrong.
Yeah, yeah. If you want to bless Pastor Norman, you can do that. And also, you guys know how to bless Pastor and myself. I'll put that up there. I might have Pastor Norman in here. Let me see if I got his thing right in here. I don't think I do though. But say it again, Pastor Norman, so they have it.
We really do need
Pastor
your
Norman.
we really do need your blessing package.
You want me to put it in?
Put it in, yeah. Put it in. Yeah, put it
All
in
right.
the comment section. Yeah. Yeah. Linda says good to see you, Pastor Norman.
It's good to see you, Linda.
Linda Lee.
Linda's our super fan. She's one who
Linda
pops in here
Lee
almost
from
every time
London
we go
Lee.
live. And she's in
For some
Washington
reason, it's
State.
not working from my end.
Well, don't worry about it. We will
That's Miss Gwen there, babe.
My
hey,
wife
Lady
just
Gwen.
did it.
Hey, Lady Gwen. Tell me what it is again, Pastor Norman. I'll put it in.
$ Apostle Armstrong.
Okay.
All lowercase. It's simple.
And what else?
Didn't type it right. Huh?
$ Apostle Armstrong. Is that all?
That's it. That's it.
Uh-huh.
That's it.
Okay.
$, Pastor. Yeah. $, Apostle Armstrong.
All right, you guys
All
out
right,
there.
guys. We
Been
love
raining a
you.
little bit here.
Well, we're gonna get the rain tomorrow and Thursday.
Wow. It's coming this way. More of it coming this
You
way.
got good Easter plans or big Easter plans?
Actually, just gonna do a virtual. That's what we're gonna do. I actually gonna do a virtual on Friday as well.
Yeah.
Had some, some of my followers actually reach out to me and stuff. So that's what I'm gonna do Wednesday, Friday, and then Sunday morning. And I may go visit Apostle Vandross after that broadcast.
Okay. Well, give Pastor Vandross our love. And hey, Gwen, we see you, honey bun. We see you.
Yeah, we see you out there, girl. You keep stepping now.
Look, we'll see you guys next time. We're gonna take off right here. We love you. And
Oh boy, say don't take no wooden nickels.
Is that all?
Or a penny with a hole in it.
They don't work anyhow.
See you guys later.
Okay, y'all enjoy